Today I'll first be talking about challenges faced by customers in the payments industry. Okay. Until now we've been talking about several things from the point of view of the players or the fintech companies themselves. But people who use those fintech platforms, what challenges do they face? Let's talk about that first today. So there was a survey conducted in 2021 by this company BlueSnap Incorporated. Okay, and that survey basically was a survey of 100 respondents. So all of them were in the C-suite of the different fintech companies. Okay, different companies who used these fintech services. All right, and what they found out was that the top 2 reasons to adopt a new payments processor. So let's say you're using one particular fintech platform today. For what reason would you switch to using some other different platform? So the top 2 reasons which came out was these 2. So one was unified reporting for payment data, and then increased payment authorization rate. Okay. So the first point, right, where I said unified reporting for payment data is very important for especially for companies such as ourselves, because this is where our expertise lies, right? So the dashboarding or the business intelligence solutions that we offer comes under this particular area. Okay. So if I am a user who is using a platform, then what kind of transactions am I doing? So what has been my journey with that company? How is that company adding value to me? So this is the kind of reporting that customers expect to get from the payment processing partner. All right. And in fact, so one of the companies that we are consulting with, we have been trying to do something very, very similar for them as well. So right now, it does not. We are not working on it right now, but it is bound to come up sometime in the future. So what sort of data should we show to our customers to keep them more engaged and to make them continue to transact using our platform? So all of that comes under the first point. The second point, increased payment authorization rate. So we have discussed this point before. See, when a company uses that fintech platform to pay its vendors or suppliers, then it is very much possible that they'll be doing a large number of payments, right? And if more often than not those payments keep getting failed, then that is a very persuasive reason for them to switch to some other payments processor. Okay, so these are the top 2 reasons to adopt a new payments processor. So what this point tells us is, see, customers in the payments industry or in the fintech space are just like customers in any other space. So there is that stickiness or the customer loyalty is not that high. So it is very easy for customers to switch from one company to the other. So the next point is kind of support.
Yeah. I have one quick question.
Yeah. And the next point just gives more support to the previous point, where 80% of the respondents said that they're using more than one payments processor, right? And one other challenge that companies face when using these platforms is whenever they are doing cross-border transactions, the situation is that they have to pay a large amount of fees. Okay, this is primarily because the payment processing companies do not have local partners in the country where the payment is received. Okay, so having that kind of a local partner. So for example, let's say if a payment is sent from the US to India, then if the fintech platform has a payment processing partner or a bank as part of its network in India, then the transaction fees will reduce when doing the cross-border transactions. That is the fourth point that I put over here. And the last point is also interesting, again related to the authorization rates. Only 20% of the respondents said that more than 90% of the payments are authorized. Okay, so for 80% of the respondents, it's like the authorization rate is much lower. Okay, so imagine more than 20 or 30% of your payments are getting failed, and if you're doing a large amount of payments every day, then it is no wonder that more people are using more than one payments processor, because obviously you would need to have a plan B, right? Because anyway you need to pay your vendors, and if your primary payment option doesn't work as good as expected, or if it keeps failing for 70 to 80% of the time, or more than that, even less than that. For example, let's say even if it fails half the time, it's not worthy enough. So that's the reason people using these platforms feel the need to have a backup option.
Just to add a point here, if see 80% of the respondents said that less than 90% of the payments were authorized, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So it can be between, let's assume it is 80%, okay, were authorized, which means they have 20% that is not authorized. Okay, this is actually a question for everyone. So if the transaction is not authorized, so what are they supposed to do?
So
not sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
not for you, everyone else.
Okay.
So okay, let's say the transaction is not authorized. So I think it will typically say that you need to wait till the bank responds, something like that. If it is not credited, it will come back to your account within the next working days. Typically, that's what I've seen.
Yeah. Right. So basically, you have to either look at an alternative. So you have to maybe talk, right, or send emails to the customer, say that, hey, whatever is the service, your service is going to stop, right? So you have to urgently, sort of renew it, etc. Right? That's the kind of thing that they're supposed to do, right? And eventually get the customer back up so that the customer is a continuing customer, right? And usually that's a pain point, right? In fact, for the customer a little bit, and also for the end customer, and it's a big pain point for these people, right? And if it is like 80%, as in 20% of the customers go through it every month, right? You got to have a department that will just do this, right? So let's say there are 1,000 people, right? 1,000 is a very small number. So for many customers, they'll be like, let's say 20,000, 30,000 customers, right? So 30,000 customers means 6,000 customers. You have to have this conversation every month, right? With some or the other 6,000 people within the 30,000. So that's a very big pain point for customers, for people who use these processors. Okay, all right, yeah. No wonder these two are, very big pain points. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
So one other challenge that people have mentioned is that 48% of the respondents estimate they have lost up to 10% of their revenue because their payment processing vendors don't offer the right payment options. So but when I say right payment options, we are talking about the different payment rails. So for example, there are certain platforms which allow you to use only a credit card. Some of them might allow you to use a debit card or a credit card, but they won't have that wallet option or anything like that, which will enable a faster transaction. So because they don't have the right payment rails in place, so these companies cannot use that particular platform to make that payment, and thereby so they feel that using certain platforms will result in loss of their revenue. So this is one more reason why people do not choose certain platforms. And this is very relevant because in today's very highly competitive fintech space, it is all the more important that you offer a wide variety of payment rails which will satisfy all of the customers that you have. That is the first point. And then managing integrations is also a big challenge. So when I say integrations, it is nothing but the accounting software that we use, and we also talked about this platform called as Plaid, right, which has all your bank account information, the bank balance and everything. So if you link your fintech account with the Plaid account, it automatically reads all of that information so that the authorization process and everything, all of those things are sped up. Okay, but what customers feel is managing these integrations is very challenging. So one thing is keeping all of the integrations up to date is difficult because every software today works based on this update concept, right? And if one of those software is updated and if the other is not updated, then the updated software can be integrated with the payments platform, but the software which does not have an update it might not be possible to have that integration. So managing these updates is difficult. And then the consistency of interacting with across these multiple platforms or using these multiple platforms, this is also, so each platform has its own features and characteristics, and it makes it very difficult for people to interact with all of these on a day-to-day basis, since there is no consistency. That is the second point. And they also say that increase in payment authorization rates can increase volumes by 3 to 12%. So when I say volume, the gross dollar volume, that is one of the main metrics, right? So what companies feel is that if they are able to increase the payment authorization rates, it is possible that the volumes might be increased by up to 12%. Okay. And one other thing which companies are trying to do today to improve the authorization rate is they are using this predictive modeling to model the likelihood of this payment approval. So they will factor in several variables, the customer details, what sort of company they are from, where are they located, what is their transaction profile, and so on. So using all these variables, they predict the likelihood of that approval date, an authorization rate, and then so using this prediction, that algorithm basically flags whether a particular transaction is fraudulent or genuine, and that algorithm basically decides whether that payment should be authorized or not. So this is one way in which companies today are trying to improve the payment authorization rate. So any questions until now?
You mentioned like lost up to 10% of their revenue. So does that mean like they have lost the clients or business through the clients, or it is because of, let's say, some option is not available in particular payment app, so I am switching to other payment app, like where I got to pay more transaction charges or something like that?
It is basically so one particular app might not offer that particular payment option, so that because that option was not available, this company would not have been able to pay that vendor, right? Okay. So due to that, they will have to use some other option. Any other questions? All right. So now we come to the strategy part. Now when I talk about strategy, there are three different parts to it. So one, what we call as the sales-led growth, and then what we call as the product-led growth, and then there's the marketing-led growth. Okay. Now, sales-led growth is where the sales team within the fintech company finds a promoter for the product within the network of the prospective customers. Okay. And then the sales team interacts with these prospective customers, so they do demonstrations, and then there's a pilot program which runs for a few months. And then if the prospective customers find everything satisfactory, then there comes the negotiation stage, and then finally the contract will be signed. Okay, so this is what is considered as a conventional growth strategy in the fintech industry. But today, what is happening is companies are shifting from this sales-led growth to product-led growth and marketing-led growth. So product-led growth, we discussed this a few weeks back. We had one presentation exclusively on product-led growth. So we said that product-led growth involves the features, performance, ease of use of the product itself drive the growth. Okay, and this typically involves the product team, engineering team, and the customer-facing team within the fintech company itself. And then, so these teams, so there are the subject matter experts from these different teams. So they test the solutions which are being developed. They make recommendations as to how to enhance the product and so on. And so they come up with the ideal product offering to the customer. So that is where we leverage the features of the product itself to drive growth for the company. Okay. But apart from this, what we'll be looking at today is the marketing-led growth. So you have launched the product, it is already in the market. Whatever features you wanted to offer to whatever customers, so all of that has been configured, you have done that. Okay. But then once the product is out there on the market, what do you do so that you improve the reach of the product and you increase your user base? So that is what comes under the marketing-led growth. So this mainly involves informing and educating the company about the product, and then you popularize the product via the networking effect or the virality effect. So this is where all that word of mouth advertisement, search engine optimization, all of these things come into play in the marketing-led growth. Now, what I'll be taking you through today is what are the different types of strategies companies, payment industry companies follow in the marketing-led growth. So first one is called as gamification. Now, this is a strategy which is used to maintain and also increase customer engagement. Okay, so gamification is where you incentivize customers. So whenever they do a certain kind of transactions, or based on the type of transactions that they do, based on the frequency of the transactions that they do, you offer them some kind of a reward and some kind of an encouragement so that they keep coming back to the platform to transact more. Okay, typical example, we already talked about this. So when using Google Pay or any other fintech company in India, you get those scratch cards, right? So like that. So certain other examples I have put over here. So customers earn coins for making purchases from partner retailers, and then you redeem these points or coins for gift cards and discounts. So Axis Bank today has something called as Edge reward points. So you use your Axis Bank credit or debit card to make the transaction, and then for every X rupees of transactions that you make, you get some Y reward points or something like that, which you can redeem it at certain retail outlets or whatever, and get something using those coins or points. So that is the second point. And then there is also loyalty programs which are introduced by companies which provide users with cashback. So yes, we should all be familiar with this cashback concept as well. And one other thing that these fintech companies do is so in that app that the company has, right? So the app which is used by the customers, so that app has features where customers can create this financial plan or budget for the month. They can monitor their spending patterns. They can establish saving goals, and they can get rewarded for accomplishments. So I put a few examples over here. So first one is from this app called Capital, UAPITAL. All right. So just look at the picture over here. So first, there is this good morning, the customer name and everything, and then the customer has linked multiple accounts with this particular app, payments app. Okay, and then the customer has specified certain goals which they would like to achieve. So first one is, if you want to buy a house, right, there should be some advance amount that you have to pay to the realtor. Okay, so what they call as down payment. Okay, so the customer can specify this as a goal that they would like to achieve, and they can also specify what is the amount that they need to achieve that goal. Okay, so that is what they have put here. Down payment, it says $4,278, and below that you see there is a small progress bar which indicates how far they have come in achieving that goal, and how much longer do they have to go to save that, to accumulate that full savings. And similarly, if they want to buy a new watch, right? So no matter what that goal is, whether it's as big as buying a house or smaller goals such as buying a smartwatch, you can still put that goal. You can put in the amount of money that you would like to achieve, and then it will show you that progress bar as to how far you have come. Okay, and apart from that, you can also specify every month when you're getting the salary, if you want to save this much amount of money, so let's say 5% or 10%, how much money are you setting aside each month, and then if you have one particular goal to reach, how long will it take you to achieve that goal given your specified savings rate. Okay, and then it is possible that apart from you, there is also someone else in the household who is saving up money for a particular goal. Then you also have this feature which says savings per person. So each person in your network, whoever you have included, you can just add them over here, and how much money is each person saving, and how far have you come. So this is what we call as gamification, where these sort of features may increase the customer interest in using the app, right? Because it gives them visibility into their progress and savings. So similarly, this feature is offered by one other app called Mint. That is what we see on the screenshot on the right. So 4,300 is the goal, and they have saved around $1,000 up until a particular point. And then if you're planning to take a loan or something, then there will be a minimum credit score requirement, right? So this also shows you your current credit score, and your target credit score. So this is one way where custom fintech companies try to increase engagement by gamifying the user interface. Any questions on this concept? Okay, let me move on to the next one. So next one, the next strategy in marketing is the referral, affiliate, or influencer marketing. Okay. So this is where the company establishes a partnership with third-party marketers or influencers, and these third-party marketers are incentivized to promote that company's products or services. Okay. And this is used especially at the launch of the product as part of the go-to-market strategy. So for example, let's say Apple releases a new iPhone, right? So what they will do is, in YouTube, if you just go and type iPhone 13 review or something like that, then the person who is reviewing that iPhone, so he'll get a brand new iPhone, right? So that is what he will use to review. Okay. Now that video which you see serves not just as a review, but also as a marketing strategy for Apple. Okay, because some people might look at the review and might not like it, but there are other people who might look at the review, actually like it, and because of the way in which the product has been reviewed on that website, they will be encouraged to buy that particular iPhone. Right? So this is what we call as the affiliate marketing or influencer marketing. And typically, the people who review these products are considered as experts in the electronic gadgets. Okay, so these companies will have partnerships with these reviewers, and whenever these companies come up with a new product, they will offer that product to that reviewer so that they will make the review, and then which will possibly increase the customers to buy that product. Okay. So this is a way for these companies to get quick and direct access to the target market and earn the trust of customers. So this is the second strategy. And one example here in the fintech industry is this company called as Coinbase. So this is a cryptocurrency trading platform. Okay. So what they did, so this was something that they did last year. So what they did was they had this referral program. Okay. So even in several e-commerce sites today, we have this referral program in India, right? So similarly, this Coinbase also had a referral program, and for each referral that successfully converted to a client, right? So what do we mean when we say successful conversion? So the person who was referred would have initiated a buy or sell transaction on the Coinbase platform of a minimum of $100 within the first 6 months of opening the account. So let's say, for example, there are two people, A and B. Okay. So A refers person B, and B. So A is already a Coinbase customer. B has been referred by A, and he is also joined the Coinbase platform. Okay. So after joining, within the first 6 months, if he pays or if he does any buy or sell transaction of a minimum of $100, then both A and B get this bonus reward of $10. $10. And this $10 is not offered as the traditional US dollar currency, but they are offered in the form of bitcoins. Because today the value of those bitcoins might be $10. Tomorrow it is likely that it might go up, right? So it might become $20, $30. That's how the value of the bitcoin keeps changing. So this will possibly incentivize customers to refer other people onto the platform, and this will help Coinbase grow its customer network. So this is the referral or the affiliate marketing strategy used by companies. Any questions?
டேபிள் மேல அழுக்கு பிளாம் பாத்துக்கோங்கன்னு சொல்றேன் நான். ஒட்டிக்கு
Okay, let's move on. So third strategy in marketing is what we call as the data strategy. Okay, and this is also very relevant for people like us. Now, when it comes to data, it's all about analyzing customer profiles, customer behavior, transactions, and coming up with recommendations and insights as to what to do next and how to do it. Right? So that is what constitutes the data strategy. Okay, and the core component of this data strategy is building the customer profile. Okay, so when I say customer profile, it is not just the demographics of the customer or how they transact on the fintech platform, but also other behavioral aspects of the customer outside of the fintech platform. Okay, and this is where this thing called as third-party cookies come into play. Okay, so I'm sure you will be familiar with the concept of cookies. Okay, so today when you go to any website and you get that banner kind of thing which says this website uses cookies, you can either accept all or reject all. You see that banner, right? Now third-party cookies are placed by, so let's say for example you go to some abc.com, right? So there is this cookie company which places that cookie on the computer when you visit that abc.com. Okay, but that cookie tracks your behavior and activity not just within abc.com, but even after you log out of that abc.com, if you go to some other website, you'll still be tracked. So that is what we call as third-party cookies, which tracks your behavior, browsing activity across all the websites that you use. Okay, and this data is very valuable to the marketers today. All right, and that's what the first point says. 79% of the marketers today use third-party cookies to build customer profiles. Okay, but right now the trend in the industry is that third-party cookies are being deprecated. Okay, so the browsers today, as part of their USP, they offer privacy to the user. Okay, and even not just the browsers like Google Chrome or Firefox, but also companies such as Apple. So they have that Safari browser, right? So one of their USPs which they market to their customers is we will not allow third-party companies to track your browsing data because we feel that your privacy is very, very important. Okay, so that is why all of these companies are stopping support for the third-party cookies. Okay, so in this situation, companies need to adopt alternate customer profiling systems. Okay, so these systems are of three types. So one is the customer data platform, and then you have the customer relationship management, and then there is something else called as the data management platform. Okay, so CRM, I'm sure many of you would be familiar. This is more of a manual data entry system which has been conventionally used. Okay, but apart from that, there is also something called as customer data platform and data management platform. So these are essentially systems which collect customer data by not using third-party cookies. So they use certain other mechanisms to collect this data, and there are companies which have these repositories of data about the customers, and so any marketers can just go to these companies, and for if they pay the particular amount, then they can get the customer related data. Right? And these customer profiles will be used for omni-channel personalization or targeted marketing campaigns. So omni-channel personalization is nothing but, let's say for example, you go to Google and search for a particular iPhone, right? And then you get those ads for the iPhone, right, in the Google search results page itself. Okay, so but tomorrow, let's say you go to some other website, you're on Facebook or you're reading some blog post or anything, but still, even that website also, by the side where they display those ads, you will still see the same iPhone ad. Okay, so no matter what website you go to, what channel you browse from, whether you browse on your mobile phone or whether you browse from your laptop, so the ad experience that you get will be the same. So that is what we call as omni-channel personalization. All right. So all of these points constitute the data strategy today. And then the next strategy is the content marketing. Okay. So in a survey of marketers in the fintech industry, 63% of the respondents said that their top challenge is generating traffic and leads for the website. Okay. In fact, the company that we have consulted for also have had this kind of a challenge where they mentioned that so they had one particular form of the homepage and they redesigned that homepage after a few months, and they wanted to check whether the new homepage is resulting in more leads and more traffic coming onto their website. Okay, so and many companies today feel that this is their biggest challenge. All right, and another interesting thing is that 70% of the customers would like to learn about a company through articles rather than ads. Okay, so ad is like you go do a Google search, you get that ad, right? But that is not the preferred method by which companies would like to, customers would like to learn about that company. Okay, because they feel if the company is being mentioned in an article or a white paper, it gives more credence to that particular company, or it enhances the trust factor or the brand value, right? So this is where customers would prefer to learn about the company from the articles. Okay, so this is why content marketing becomes very important, and the content should be relevant and useful to potential customers. Okay, so what do I mean when I say content? So let's say, for example, the company sends a weekly newsletter to the customer. Okay, so that newsletter can possibly contain that customer summary that we talked about. So how has the journey of that customer been with that particular fintech platform? Okay, and it can also contain other, let's say, bits of information on best payment practices, what is driving the cross-border transaction fees today. So all this news about the payments industry, right? The latest trends and everything. And then by giving all of this information to the customer, the company can position itself as a thought leader in that particular fintech space. And this is very, very relevant, especially in the B2B scenario, because that is where customers are more cost conscious, and that is where the competition is also very, very high, right? And differentiating ourselves is also very, very difficult. Okay, so this is where the thought leadership comes into play, and what you communicate to your customers on a regular basis, that results in you having a higher retention and higher engagement. So this is the content marketing strategy which companies follow in the payments industry. Any questions? All right, so that's all I had